Hello, mother truckers. So, I feel like you can't tell, but I got a new phone. I can see. I can see the quality, baby. You don't have to be able to see it, but I can see it. It's lit. Early boys. Yeah, so this is way earlier than I normally do it, but I'm bored and I just want to see if I got a different crowd from doing it a little bit earlier in the day. Cause it's what, 6 o'clock here? Normally I get on at like 8:30, right? Maybe even 9 o'clock sometimes. So we'll see. We'll see. See what happens. But yeah, same old stuff. Talk about the same old stuff. Language. I mean, me and you normally talk about running nowadays. If anybody got any questions about fitness, talk about that. So, did you run today, Phil? Oh, you know what? I need to. I'm tripping, bro. See, this is what happens when you get out of routine. You don't do stuff the same. So, normally I have the normally I have the live pulled up on my laptop so I can see the questions because they pop up for like 2 seconds on the phone and then I don't get to see it and I'm like, oh shit. So let me pull it up on my laptop. I saw you say something and I missed it. I missed it. So I need to get on YouTube on my laptop. Dakota, I saw you say something. Here for the vibes, I think you said. I don't have it pulled up on my laptop yet, so I'm not gonna be able to see what y'all said until this super slow laptop pulls it up. Okay. By the way, I mean Dakota knows it's hot, bro. It's hot, and I just turned the AC off just so like I can actually be heard on the video. So if you see me start sweating, that's why. Okay. Oh, you said I get on a mid run, and that's like 9 there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Cause you're what, 2 hours ahead of me, right? So yeah, I usually get on like 7:30, 8:30, depending on the day. Dakota says, here for the vibes, to be honest. All right, that's it. That's what we're all here for. We're all here for vibes, baby. Well, Dakota, tell me something. Barely hit 75. That's still hot for Washington. Okay, think about this though. Without giving too much information about my living situation, I'm not on the first floor, and it's Washington, so there's no central AC. I have to use a AC unit. So yes, it's not incredibly hot outside, but in a building where you're not on the first floor, it is very hot. But I was gonna say, Dakota, tell me what's the last thing you learned in your language learning journey? Um, I know it's in Japanese, so I won't be able to understand that portion of it, but you can still tell me what you learned. Also, I'm about to reply to my wife, so the video might pause. All right, I'm back. She says she's not gonna be home till like 7:30, so I got at least an hour. We got at least an hour to just talk about nothing. So of British in it. Yeah, bro. Like Washington's crazy. When I first moved up here, my parents were still up here at the time, and like I was like, "Yo, it's hot." I'm like, "How come the AC's not working?" Because there's a AC thing on the wall, but it only works for heat. So like even though it goes from like 0 to 90, only heat works. So it was the summer, and I'm like putting it on like 60. I'm like, bro, what kind of AC is this? And like when it would, I would feel like I would hear like some air coming out the vent. I'll be like, bro, I feel like it's getting hotter in here because it only pumps out heat. So yeah, it's crazy, man. I think the new buildings that they build, they put AC in them, but before climate change. I guess Washington was so like mid that they never needed AC in people's houses, and so like I don't know, bro. It's weird. Like that's such a strange concept to me, and it's even dumber because every time I say it's hot, people are like, "Aren't you from Texas? Oh, you should be used to the heat." Like, nah, bro. We have AC in our houses because we're not cavemen. Like, everyone has AC. Like, you gotta be like in the projects to not have AC. Like, it's normal. Everyone has AC, bro. Like, so the fact that Washington, most people don't have AC, bro, is just crazy. And every time at this time of the year, people are like, "Hey, you know somebody with an AC unit?" I tried to go to the store; they were all bought out. Like, bro, everyone does the same thing every year. Why don't you have an AC unit on standby, bro? Crazy. Yeah, we don't live outside, so I don't be understanding what people are asking when they say like, "You should be used to it, aren't you from Texas?" Like, yeah, bro, we sleep outside on the pavement, no clothes, no sheets, just burning up. Dakota never replied, so I'm guessing he didn't learn anything in Japanese. Oh, he replied right when I said that. Literally 3 hours ago, I learned some new grammar. Bro, is that Japanese? That looks like Arabic. At least one of those letters is Arabic, bro. Hold on a second. That looks like ha. But meaning I can now say I have done something. Nani? Okay, Dakota, just for clarification, is that what you type saying I have done something, or are you saying because you learned that you can say that you've done something today? Because I'm like just confused about how I should read that statement that you just posted. Also, I would like to know. I mean, I remember we talked about it when you first started learning Japanese. Oh my, bro, how you gonna say the same thing? That does not. That doesn't help me out. Are you? So you're saying because you learned that you can say you've done something. Those characters don't mean I have done something, though, right? Uh, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So when we first started talking about you learning Japanese a long time ago, I do remember you saying you had conversations and stuff like that. But the fact that you put those characters in there means that you have moved to some kind of formal writing. So I want to know at what point did you implement learning writing the characters and stuff like that? Because obviously, like written language is different than just talking. You can learn how to talk and never learn how to read and write. So, was this something you've been doing from the beginning, or did you get to a good point in talking and then decide like I'm gonna learn how to use the characters too? Team YouTube just what? Hold on a second. I don't know if y'all can see that. Team YouTube just wrote me, bro. My channel has been issued a strike for violating community guidelines. My channel is in the middle of a strike period. What? What did I do, bro? When did I get a strike? I'm about to reply to Team YouTube and be like, yo, how did I get a strike, bro? Did I play some music on my channel or something, bro? Hold on, let me reply to Team YouTube real fast. Team YouTube. What did I do? Phil, can you see that message that they just left me, or is that personal? I can't tell if that was like a public chat. Hey, you just pissed me off low key because I was like, what did I do, bro? Hey, that was good. I'm about to block you, but that was real good. Yo, you really got me. I was like, what did I do, bro? I'm like, yo, you're a piece of shit. I'm about to go to your channel now, bro, and I'm about to report all your shit because, like, I didn't even read all this shit, bro. I was sweating, bro. I'm about to start sweating, bro. Yeah, you getting blocked, motherfucker. Ah, that was a good one. That was genuinely laughs, bro. Congrats to you, cause you really played me. Like I didn't even like think to check. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like, what did I do, bro? Yeah, I'm about to have to put on the AC. I was like, damn, I'm about to lose my YouTube channel, bro. It's only realistic because IG and Twitter have done that to me before. They're just like, psh, pull the plug on me, bro, and I gotta fight for 3 months to get my account back. And they're like, oh yeah, we made a mistake. Yeah, bitch, you did. But that was funny, bro. Like that was good. This little bastard. Why you pick me, bro? Why would you do that to me? What have I done to you? What have I done to you? I be posting some hateful stuff. All right, he distracted me, bro. Like I gotta actually go back and see what Dakota said. I got so distracted. I'm like, yo, fuck Team YouTube. What did I do to them, bro? So, from the beginning, I learned how to write and recognize the characters so I could read a book. Okay, that's cool. So, like, what level would you say you're at, Dakota? I know it's hard to, like, classify what level you're at in a language, but I'm gonna make up a scale right now because I don't really like the official scales of languages. I'm gonna make it 1 to 3. One being you're learning a language and you cannot talk to any random person on the street. Two being you can talk to any random person, but they're gonna have to like really bring their level of conversation down to serve you to make sure that you can understand. And 3, like you could go to Japan, talk to people. But you didn't even let me say what 3 was. But okay, that's fair. You're at 2. Okay. Nah, that's good. Maybe I should make my scale more specific actually, because there's a lot that goes on in 2. I feel like you could be at the beginning of 2 or at the end of 2. Like I know lots of people in Spanish that can talk to anyone if anyone talks to them like a child. But if someone has a regular conversation, they will be lost. So maybe, but then I'm gonna be on a 4 scale, which is like the official scale, and I didn't want to do that. So both your tutors told you you'll be able to survive in Japan and have basic conversations. Bro, if you really want to put that to the test without going to Japan, link up with like some random person on italki and like tell yourself you're not gonna say a word in English, or because you don't have an accent, but that's good. Um, or get on like what's that shit called, like Omegle or something like that. I don't know how to say it. I think it's Omegle. Get on there, put your settings on Japan or whatever. I don't know how it works. I've never been on it, but do that and like see what kind of conversations you end up having. Because one thing I do realize is that if you talk to the same person all the time or the same 2, 3, 4, or 5 people, you guys fall into like a routine where like you know their behaviors, you know their mannerisms, you know the way they talk. So even if you don't understand everything, you probably know what they're thinking already and stuff like that. One thing that's really difficult is like when you meet a random person and they say something, because it's like you don't know how random they are, bro. You don't know what's on their mind. So you're like, did they just ask me this or did they ask me something else? Like, there's this soldier that I trained, actually, like this morning. She speaks in Spanish and English, but she doesn't stick to one. Like, she just does whatever she wants to do because she can. That's cool. She knows I speak both. And so sometimes she'll walk up to me and say something. I'll be like, what? And she'll say it again. I'm like, oh, she's speaking English. Like, I'm tripping. Like, I thought she was speaking Spanish, but she's speaking English. And so, like, that doesn't really happen with people that I'm cool with because it's like I can hear the tone of voice. Like, when my wife speaks Spanish, it's totally different than how she speaks English. So I would never be confused. But it's a little bit different when you're talking to random people and you don't know how they talk. You don't know what it sounds like when they're asking questions. Sometimes people talk and they don't do like an inquisitive tone. And it's like, yeah, what you think about that? Well, I kind of did that in an inquisitive tone, but they might say, what you think about that? And then they're just looking at you and you're like, and they're like, what do you think about that? And I'm like, I didn't even know you asked a question. Okay, yeah, well, I think this. So, yeah, that was a lot of talking for nothing, but yeah. Do you think growing up speaking multiple languages gives one an advantage picking up another language later on in life? I would say yes. Um, Simply because you would understand how to conceptualize things differently, even when it's the same thing. I know that probably sounds weird, but like, I don't know how do you speak more than one language? Before I say what I'm gonna say, let me know right now if you've picked up a second language. If you haven't, then I'm gonna just explain it. But if you have, then I'll give you an even better example. Nerd yard. But even before you answer, I'll say just the fact that you speak three. Okay. I don't know which three you speak. You can tell me while I'm talking, but I can almost guarantee that in two of those languages, the order of things are reversed, right? And depending on which three you speak, maybe even the complete opposite. Like at least in Spanish, you know, like you can say pretty words. Oh, so you already speak three, and you're trying to learn Spanish, or is Spanish a part of the three? Because I'll tell you something. Even if you think it's not easy right now, I think it'll get easier for you. Whereas for someone else, the level of difficulty might stay the same. But like I said, if you speak multiple languages, then you understand the concept of things not being in the same order as they are in one language. Swahili, English. I don't know that third language. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. But that makes sense why maybe Spanish is a little more difficult for you. But yeah, I don't know Swahili. I don't know that third language. But I'm sure that the things are not like noun, verb, whatever, subject, noun, verb, subject, whatever. I'm sure it's not exactly in the order of English. So just off of that alone, I think that gives you an advantage that your brain already understands like, oh, things don't have to go exactly in this order to make sense to somebody else. The other thing, don't know what these languages, but in a lot of languages, objects and everything has gender, whereas in English it doesn't. We can give things gender in English. Like we can say, like people sometimes they're talking about their car or like a boat or something. They're like, oh yeah, she's a beauty. But boat is a boat. It's not la boat. You know what I mean? It's not a girl boat. It's just a boat. So a lot of English speakers have trouble conceptualizing gender. Whereas like if you spoke another language that already had gender built into it, you'll be like, yeah, that's how it works. Like everything has a gender. So there's that. So I definitely think like just those two things alone, depending on what language you started with, that gives you a huge advantage because like I said, English speakers, it's really, really tough for them to get a hold of gender. And I don't know about Swahili. I don't know about this other language. I'm just gonna look that up right now, actually. I'm sure you're gonna comment and tell me, but I might as well look it up. I'm not doing anything. Kenya, Tanzania. Okay. I can't believe I never heard of that. That's really crazy. Learn something new every day, man. Sometimes I think I'm smart, and then I realize millions of people speaking language, and I've never heard of it. So how smart can I really be? Uh, while I'm on Google, let me see how this language is built. Okay. So, what I was gonna say is I don't know about these other languages, but Spanish has a subjunctive, right? And the other languages have a subjunctive too. English has a subjunctive, we just really don't use it. And so that's something that's really tough for English speakers to pick up too, where it might not be as tough for someone that uses a language that already uses the subjunctive. In English, everything is neutral. Like nothing is a fact. You pick up on the fact that it's a fact by the context. Whereas in Spanish, if you say something, it's absolute, like it's true. You believe that it's true unless you indicate otherwise, right? So, like if I use the words, uh, I don't know, helps you, helps you, right? Like that means it's helping you, it helps you. It's a fact in Spanish if I said that, right? Whereas in English, that's not necessarily true. If I say I hope this helps you, the context is I said that I hope, right? So it's not necessarily going to help you, but I hope it does, right? But in Spanish, you wouldn't do that. Like you, if you say espero que, you have to say ayude instead of ayuda. Espero que te ayude, right? Like I hope this helps, or I hope it helps, or I hope you know that I help. Whatever. The point is that I'm hoping for something that's not necessarily a fact. If I say it, it is a fact. If I just say it with regular factual words, it is a fact. Not necessarily the case in English. So I hope that explanation maybe made sense. But in short, yeah, I think knowing multiple languages definitely helps you. Uh, it gives you an advantage with learning another language, especially if you put any thought into your language before. Like even before I thought about learning another language, I've always been like really big into etymology ever since I was like a little kid. I'm like, why do we say this? And my parents are like, that's just what everyone says. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to know like why do we say it though? Like why is this called a tree? Like why do we say that? Some people don't care about that. I've always cared. Anytime I hear a new word, I'm like, where'd that come from? Like why why did they pick that word? You know what I mean? And so to give you an example, the word tree comes from, or I should say, the word true comes from the word tree. And like that's the cool part about language. Languages now are like abstract, right? True is an abstract thing. Like, but almost all languages come from somewhere that was very real. A tree is a real thing, and you know it's gonna be there because it's a big ass tree, bro. It can't move. So then they came up with a word true that's very close to tree to let you know this is something that doesn't change. It's always gonna be there, and it's always gonna be as it is. So yeah, like I said, if you're a thinker and you've thought about your own language, I think it helps you learn another language. If you've literally never thought about why you say stuff, then maybe you're gonna have just as tough of a time as any random person that's learned that language. Do I plan on learning another language? I started to pick up Portuguese, but I talked about this on here before. I don't know anyone that speaks Portuguese. And I'm really introverted and I value like conversations, like even doing this right here. I like doing this more than I like making regular videos because like I'm actually talking to y'all. We're having a conversation, we can get deep. We're talking about something that matters. I feel like I'm helping somebody or maybe y'all are gonna help me, whatever. It's a good conversation. I don't really want to learn something just for the sake of learning it. Not a language, anyways. Like I could learn Mandarin. If I never talk to anyone in Mandarin for the rest of my life, then it's like, why did I learn it, bro? And how do I even have the motivation to try to learn it, right? So, no, no, no. It's not the opposite of being introverted. I value having conversations. I don't value being around a bunch of people, and that's the thing too. Like, there's lots of language learners that want to learn a basic level of a language, maybe Japanese, and they want to go watch. They want to go make a video and say, American white guy speaks Japanese and shocks 50 people. I see that shit every day. And they just walk up talking to random people. I don't want to do that, bro. Like, that's not my style. Or else I would learn Portuguese and I'll get on italki and talk to 50 people in Portuguese or walk around my neighborhood and talk to random people until I found someone that spoke Portuguese. That's not who I am. I don't, it's just not me. So I already knew people that spoke Spanish and I wanted to have a deeper connection with them. It wasn't that I wanted to meet random people. I didn't want to meet like random girls and stuff. I didn't want to go party. Some people use language for that. That's cool. It's just not me. Um, so Spanish was easy to do because I'm like, I want to have a deeper connection with the people that I already know whose first language is Spanish. Um, but yeah, so that's why I haven't done anything with Portuguese. I don't know anyone that speaks it. And I'm not about to go out of my way to find random people that speak it. So I will have to run into someone that knows it. I will have to have a connection with them, and I think it'll be easier then because I'll be like, I want to have a deeper connection with this person. For me, it's easy to start, but not all languages excite me. Yeah, I mean, there's that element too. Like, I like the way Portuguese sounds. Like, I like hearing it, and a little bit that I learned made me feel the same way as Spanish. I'm like, I like this. I can see the etymology of the words when I would look it up. I'll be like, oh, that's cool. Like, that basically comes from the same place as Spanish. This is kind of like Spanish. I like that. But like I said, I didn't have enough motivation. Like, without knowing someone, I'm like, okay, let's just say I get, let's say I get to fluency in Portuguese at the end of this year and I still have zero people to talk to. It's like, why did I do that? You know what I mean? And like I said, some people like learning languages for the sake of learning languages, or they learn the language and take that and go meet new people, which is cool. It's just not what I'm about to do. And I know I'm not about to do it, so I'm not going to lie to myself. I like learning things that are of value, like a skill. I just got a new car and I'm learning all the maintenance I can do at home. Okay, but in that context, let's say you have a Nissan Sentra and you spent all day learning how to change the tires and the engine and all this other stuff on a 735 BMW. You could tell everyone that. You could be like, yo, I'm an expert. I can change everything on a 735. But it's like you can't change the stuff on your own car though. You get what I'm saying? And so that's how I feel about it. Like, yeah, it would be cool to say that I speak Mandarin. It would be cool to say that, like, oh yeah, Egyptian Arabic. Yeah, I know that. I could talk to this guy at the shop for you. Or it'd be cool to say I know Portuguese. It'd be cool to listen to UFC fighters. And actually, that's probably still a deeper motivation than a lot of other stuff because I like fighting. I watch fighting every weekend. Be cool to listen to them or like really know what they're saying versus some fake English translation. But in the sense of the car, it would be cooler to really know my own Nissan Sentra in and out. And some other person with a Nissan Sentra just like me who could talk about it versus me knowing the ins and outs of a 735 and meeting a person with a Sentra and just being like, I can't really relate to you, bro. You're broke as fuck. So I'm not a thought, bro. Give me a better car. It was just an example. After Japanese, I like to learn Thai so I can speak to my brothers. And when I go back to Thailand, I can speak to locals and my brother's friends. Okay, so like in the example that I just gave, Dakota, like you learning Japanese would be like me learning Portuguese and not Spanish, right? If I knew Portuguese, but then like I couldn't talk to my wife's parents and like my barber and like all these soldiers that I work with every day that speak better Spanish than English, I would be like, why do I have this? It's cool, but what am I getting out of it? And I don't know what your Japanese is for, so I'm not saying it's useless or something. But it seems to me from this right here that if you knew Thai, it would be more useful to you. Like your brother speaks Thai and you go to Thailand often. I don't know how often you go to Japan. I don't know if you've ever been to Japan. And so, like I said, I don't know your life. Maybe you can respond and tell me why Japanese is useful or more useful than Thai or whatever. But like I said, I'm about utility, about usefulness, about connection. You know, that's why I started training people in the first place. I had deeper connections. And then I started doing other stuff so that I could have deeper connections with people that I was training. So it's like a big chain to me, you know what I mean? I used to go to a Japanese Baptist church and I have a couple Japanese friends, but it's also been a childhood dream of mine to speak the language and visit Japan someday. So, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Hello from India. I'm from India where there is good connection. What kind of connection? What kind of connection? Are you talking about internet connection or like friendship connection? Because I know I was just talking about friendship connection, so I don't know. Oh, mind connection. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. How do you say your name? Is it like Rakesh? Is that how you say it? If I said it wrong, just put no. This is the first time I've seen you on this live, so you're new. Oh, I said it right. Okay, I believe you. Okay. Well, what brings you here, Rakesh? This is your first time, right? What made you click on this? And Dakota, which is why I choose to do it before Ty. Yeah, no, that's fair. Like I said, everyone has different motivations. I was explaining my motivations and lack of motivations for Portuguese. Hopefully, I said enough to make it make sense. I don't. You can't really disagree with someone else's motivation, so I can't like say like, oh, you don't have a good enough motivation. Like, nah, I think what you're doing is fine. Like I said, even the people that learn just to flex, that's cool. Like the people that speak like 7 languages and stuff. The last video I did was with a guy that speaks 7 languages. He likes traveling. He likes making friends. He likes learning languages. That's cool. I wish to be a handsome man like you. Thank you. Yeah. Learning languages to flex is cool. It's just not my motivation. You're trying to improve your body because your wife has said to you that you are a fat man. That's not nice. That's not nice. Tell her don't say that to you, first of all. But Rakesh, what you can do is get more active. Whatever you do right now, whatever your level of activity is, just take it a notch up. And if you eat this much food, don't eat more because you did this. Take your activity up here a little bit. Keep your food exactly where it's at, right? So maybe you wake up in the morning, go for an extra walk, something like that, just to get some more activity in. Take it slow. Work in the garden more. Yeah, sure. That works too. Just a little bit more movement. It's real easy to get comfortable and not do anything, and that makes us put on a little bit of weight that we don't want sometimes. Hey, gardening is hard work, bro. That's why I don't do it. I'm good off that. I should tell my wife she has a stench in response. No, no, it's probably not a good idea. I mean, unless she actually does have a stench. But why does she have a stench? But still, nah, don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Yeah, Phil, it's tough. It's tough. Processed 20 onions. What does that mean, bro? What does process mean in this case? Talk to me like a 5-year old, bro. I don't know anything about gardening. I barely got room for some herbs. Yeah, I don't have room for anything because I'm not gardening. So, but yeah, what is processing onions? I'm guessing that means you grew some onions, you're taking them and you're doing something with them. But like what? It says 7 people are in here right now. So if you drop into this live, you know, introduce yourself, say what's up, let me know why you dropped in. If it's for fitness, for languages, whatever, and we could talk about it. You're motivated to be more active. That's good. That's good, Rakesh. Cut the tops and the roots so when you harvest the onion, you leave the green sprouts and the roots on so it takes the last bit of energy from the leaves. And when you cut the tops and roots off, you can store them for longer. And I'm guessing you're gonna eventually use those onions to cook. Chef Phil. Chef Roberts. I might have to start getting on here early. This is pretty. It's pretty active, and it's still 6:45 basically. So normally I get on here at 7 or 8. Oh, my PC's not plugged in. My battery's low. Why is it not plugged in? Oh god. Hold on a second, y'all. Oh, should be good now. Let me see. Where's the battery icon? Yup. Yup. Was plugged in. Blessed to you and your family. Thank you for speaking to me. I'm motivated by you. Hey, thanks, man. Like I said, just get a little bit more active and be consistent. Don't do anything crazy. It's all about doing something that you can continue to do, right? So the more intense you make it, the harder it is to continue doing it. So don't do too much too soon. Take your time. Take your time. Phil, I might get you to teach me some stuff, bro, about gardening. I kind of want to get into it, so kind of want to get into it. Hey, Rakesh, does everyone where you're from speak English? Oh, damn, you said good night. Well, if you don't answer that, then good night. But if you do, I just want to know, does everyone where you're from in your town speak English? Do, do, do. Hey, Dakota, do you listen to music in Japanese or not? You need an invite to this gardening class. All right, I'm getting ready for this easy 30-minute run. Holler at you in a bit. It's possible that I'll still be here when you get done, Phil. My wife said she'll be home around 7:30. It's basically 6:50 now. That's about 40 minutes from now. If my battery doesn't die, I'll probably still be on here if people are still talking. So looks like it's about to just be me and Dakota for a little bit. I killed just about every plant I've tried to grow. That's not good, bro. What are you doing? That is not good. All right, Phil. Have a good run, bro. Don't be too slow. A lot of Lisa, Cosa, and Fresino. I don't know how to say any of those, but those don't sound Japanese, bro. Are these Japanese Americans? Are these Japanese people that have just taken American acronyms? I only ask you that because I was going to tell you to recommend me a Japanese song, and I'm going to listen to it. Not right now, because the last time I did that on my live, I got a strike. An actual strike, not some fake person. Not some fake person that got me with a prank. Can't believe I fell for that. I'm kind of pissed. A lot of Japanese musicians use English names. I mean, that makes sense. If you don't, what's the word? Romanize? Anglicize? If you don't Romanize your name, no one like me could ever search it, right? If you use Japanese characters for your name, like how would I find it? So that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. There's actually a handful of Spanish artists like that too. Not even just artists. There's some athletes that change the spelling of their name um, so that they're easier to find. Like there's some people that are named Jason, but it's with a Y. And so they just change it to J if they get popular so that Americans that are looking for a Jason Lopez could find them. So lately I've been playing Rondo by Kid. How you say that, bro? Fresino? And Love by Cosa. Produced by Triple J. Alright. I'm gonna listen to it. I don't know how popular they are, so like I said, I'm not gonna play it on the stream because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But I will check it out after the live is over. So Dakota, what's the toughest part about learning Japanese to you? Like I said, I'm not learning Japanese, so maybe something you tell me I won't exactly understand, but I'm sure you could find the words to say it. What is maybe something that English doesn't have, or just something that you're having a tough time coming to terms with? Something that makes Japanese difficult to learn. What are you dealing with right now? Even potentially someone in the chat later or next time or something might be able to help you if they're already fluent in Japanese or they're learning it too or something like that. I don't think anyone else that follows me is learning Japanese, but you never know. Learning how to form the sentences myself versus being able to read and hear while comprehending the words. Um, what is difficult about forming the sentences? Why do you think you can't form the sentences yourself? Like, what's stopping you? Like me using English, for example. If I pick this up and I say, this is chapstick, the only reason I wouldn't be able to say this is if I don't know how to say chapstick, which means I'm lacking vocabulary, or I don't know how to express that something exists, which might not be a vocabulary thing, it might be a conceptual thing, kinda, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're lacking a vocabulary, it's very tough to say this is something because you can only say this is, I don't know what it's called. But even that, to me, if you can say this is, then the person can fill in the blank for you. Like chapstick, right? Nothing is stopping me. My brain automatically wants to put the words in English order: noun, verb, object. Okay, what's the order for Japanese? I'm guessing object. Hold on, let me think about Japanese culture. I'm closing my eyes so I don't see if you reply. Typically, the further a culture goes back, the more important the verb is. You need to know what's happening, and then you need to know what it's happening to, and then you need to know the noun. So I'm gonna say for Japanese, it's verb, object, noun. VON, verb, object, noun. Subject of verb, object, subject. Verb, object, subject. Fuck. Subject, object, verb. Okay, that is weird. I wonder what's the cultural reason for that. You don't get to know what happened until the end. That's usually, I'm making this up kind of, but that's usually a sign of a more sophisticated language in society. Because, like you said, listening is more crucial. That means you're sitting down chilling. If something's important, like let's pretend that we need to survive, right? We're cavemen. Like I'm gonna say attacking cougar. Like I'm not gonna say, hey, over there, by the way, there's a cougar and it's attacking us. No, like attacking needs to be the first thing that's said. Then I tell you what's doing it. Oh yeah, it's from over there. Like we need to run. I'm telling you it's attacking. Let's go. It's a cougar. Oh, thanks for telling me that. It's coming from over there, so it's a good thing we ran. So the fact that the verb's at the end is really, really interesting. So I have good vocabulary, but putting it all into fully formed complete sentences is more difficult. Let's do a quick Google. I'm a new subscriber. I found your channel through Mike, just showing support. I don't have anything to add to the conversation, but I didn't want to be weird just lurking. I appreciate you, man. John Redacted. I'm just gonna call you John, assuming that's your real name. Maybe it's not. Doesn't really matter. You're John. Are you learning Spanish? If you are, let me know how long you've been learning and like roughly what level you feel like you're at. If you're not learning Spanish, then I guess you don't need to say any of that. Now let me go back to searching up why Japanese verbs go at the end. Someone's gonna explain it. That's why I love Google, man. Someone always explains this shit. Japanese sentence structure explained. Oh my gosh, the first link that pops up. Come on, man. You know, you want to hate these corporations, but the education is just so good. If you're learning Japanese, one of the first things you might notice is figuring out what's being said isn't as simple as making a word for word comparison. Blah, blah, blah. Japanese sentence structure inverts the common word order many are familiar with. The good news is Japanese sentence structure is very consistent. So once you get used to the backward word order, it quickly becomes second nature. That is important because, like I said before, earlier in this live, with Spanish, just like English, it's not consistent. Sometimes you can say whatever you want. Sometimes it's like, oh, no, you can't say it like that. Like in English, I could be like, well, here I am. And I can also say, yeah, I'm here. And it's fine. You can say either one of those. One of them sounds like a little more fancy, but you can say either one. But in a consistent language, it would be like, no, you can only say I'm here. Or, oh, no, you can only say here I am. If you say it the other way, it doesn't make sense. It's the same thing in Spanish. You could say, aquí estoy aquí, whatever. So that makes it a little bit difficult for people sometimes. But I want to know why. In Japanese, Toshokan means library. Don't worry about me butchering the pronunciation. I'm not learning Japanese. I don't care. Ikimashita is the conjugated form of iku. I to library went. Okay. I want to know why. Okay, so the link lied. I'm back to hating corporations because they didn't tell me why. Yeah, they don't say why in this article. I want to know why. Oh, ekimashito. Or is it? Hold on, let me look at the chat. Ekimashito. Or is it ekimashito? Or is it eki? I don't care. I don't know why I did that. Hey, what's your thoughts on creatine? Creatine is useful. More useful if you do not get it from your food. Like when I take creatine, which I never do, it doesn't do anything for me because I eat steak, beef, whatever stuff that has creatine in it, and I get creatine from that. So I never feel anything. But people that are lacking stuff like that in their diet, sometimes they take creatine and they're like, man, I feel great. I can lift more weights, blah, blah, blah. Creatine is great if you need it. None of those. All right, now I care again. I got to make sure I say this right. So we have some options. I'm gonna say them in order so you can tell me which one. Let me see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables. It has to be one of these, I think. It can be ekimashito. 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 So you tell me out of the 5 which one it was. If you say it was none of the 5, then you're just a hater, and I'm not gonna try again, bro. I'm not listening to it. No haters. All right, I need to see. Bro, that's your fault. You typed it wrong, bro. What? I'm not doing that all again, bro. Type it into Google. Okay, that's fair. I can do that. What was the English word for it again? What did we say? Library? Yeah, that shit says it's Finnish. So clearly I typed it wrong. Yeah, you clearly don't know phonetics, bro. At all. Um, Dakota, tell me what's the word in English so I can say English or Japanese. I clicked off the page already. Oh my god, this guy's typing Japanese characters. Bro, what is the word in English? I need to type in, like, if it's library, I need to type in library in Japanese so that Google will tell me how to say it. This guy really typing Japanese characters to me. I guess I can copy and paste this. Went? I swear that shit was. Alright, let's see. Hold on, I gotta take my laptop off of mute. Try Japanese, yes. Ekimashita. 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 Alright, bro, that's as close as we get. Alright, we're good now. You're right, yeah, none of those 5 that I said was even close to that because you can't spell. So I'm glad to know that it was not my fault. More of an E sound? Yeah, I'm not doing this, bro. I'm not a Japanese learner. As long as we got this much closer, we're good. I've been learning Spanish for about 2 months. Progress is slow, but I'm working on it. Okay, John. What makes you say progress is slow, though? Like, what is that based on? Is that based on how much you wish you would have learned in 2 months, or comparing yourself to other people, or what? Because, like, I don't know what slow is. I'll teach you one day. I don't want you to teach me, bro. I don't want to learn Japanese. No desire to learn Japanese, bro. I watched enough anime and just thought, like, this is not a language I'll ever learn. All right, Dakota, peace. Good talking to you, bro. Do I take a pre workout or is it pointless? I take a pre workout every day. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, I started taking pre workout in like 2010 and never stopped. Like, all right, let me not lie. I don't take a pre-workout on days where I'm doing something really light because I don't care about it. But like I'm a competitive weightlifter. I literally do weightlifting competitions, and if I do not take a pre-workout, bro, like, no, no. So, pretty necessary for me to take pre-workout. Am I a caffeine addict? Some would say yes. Do I need it if I'm not lifting weights? Not really. But the feeling that you get from a pre-workout, bro, I don't want to lift without it. And if that makes me a caffeine addict, then that's fine. Who's my inspiration? Ronnie Coleman? No. No. If there's something you should know about me, is that I don't care about bodybuilding at all, bro. Like, nothing about bodybuilding is appealing to me. They don't inspire me. No disrespect. I admire that they work really hard. But I don't care about that. Um, I lift weights competitively. I don't show my body competitively. So even if I was fat or skinny, I would still compete in weightlifting. Like our weightlifting is how much weight you can lift. How you look doesn't matter. Sometimes the greatest champions, their stomachs are like this, or there's some dude that looks like a beanpole, and you're just like, how is he putting all of that weight over his head? Doesn't matter. All that matters is that he's doing it. Doesn't matter what he looks like. So yeah, no, Ronnie Coleman, all those guys, like, no, they don't inspire me. No disrespect. My inspiration is I'll type his name. You can look him up. Goat. It's just unbelievable strength. The things he did with weights from 17 years old to whenever he stopped. Crazy. Insane. I'm interested to hear about John's Spanish journey. Only 2 months in. Yes, yes, he's from Kazakhstan. Yes. Yeah, but John, if you're listening, 2 months is you just started, bro. Like whatever you think is slow is not slow. Anything that you've learned is good enough. 2 months in is so short into your journey. It's it takes time. It takes time to realize what you're doing is not working. To believe it's not working, or to believe it is working, whatever. But like 2 months is just nothing, man. I wouldn't call any progress at 2 months slow. You don't know anything. You can only get like a decent base at 2 months and say like, okay, like I just started learning. Like at 2 months, you're just learning. Like you don't know anything. My Spanish progress is slow, but it's Duolingo. That's fair. You think practicing an hour a day is good? An hour a day to me means nothing because you could be doing an hour of things that aren't going to help you, or you could be doing 30 minutes of things that are really going to help you, which is more valuable than an hour of whatever. You know what I mean? So an hour a day, I can't say it's good or bad. But what I can say is there are things that are good and bad. And there's things that you should do every day, maybe. Getting some input's always good, right? Listen to podcasts, listening to music that you can understand, watching stuff with subtitles that you can understand. Anything that's above your level of comprehension is almost worthless. I try to give Duolingo a chance, but I should have started with more structured lessons. Yes, yes. And I wouldn't even say lessons. You just need to talk. The first thing you need to do is learn the alphabet. If you don't know the alphabet, that's bad. The next thing you need to do is learn the sounds and like Really learn the sounds, not just like, oh yeah, I know how to read these letters, but you're saying it with an English accent or an American accent. It's not good. Learn how the vowels and the consonants sound in Spanish. Learn the alphabet. Once you know those two things, you just start talking to people and you're on your way. Within a year, conversations. But what are the 30 minutes? Listening to Spanish radio podcasts? Not necessarily. Like I said, if that's above your level of comprehension, that's not good. If it isn't and you can understand it all, then yeah, that is good. But eventually there has to be some output too, right? So that's still a supplement. A podcast, a TV show, music, all of that stuff to me is one piece of the puzzle. You still have to talk. You still have to take all this stuff that you're getting in input and say, I'm gonna try to use this stuff in conversation, right? But shouldn't I learn the words and basics on Duolingo first before listening to podcasts? Sure, maybe. But like how long here's the problem. Let me backtrack a little bit. You'll be on Duolingo for 5 years and you don't know what you don't know until you're in the field. It's like if you were in a basketball gym and you're like, I need to work on my dribbling, I need to work on my shooting, I need to work on all this stuff to play a game. I can't play a game without learning this stuff. But you don't know how good you are. You don't know what you're lacking until you play a game. You have to go play a game and say like, oh man, like I thought I could dribble, but I got the ball taken from me every time. I thought I could shoot. I missed every single shot. I thought I wasn't good at moving my feet, but I stayed in front of this guy the whole time. So I'm actually good at moving my feet. So all the things that you think are not real because you've never put them to the test, right? And that is the false sense of security that an application gives you. You think you know things that you don't know. Everyone thinks they suck or they think they're good and they don't know until they talk to people. I know lots of people that tell me like, no, 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 I barely know any Spanish, I blah blah blah. And I'll like literally hear them have a conversation. I'm like, oh, like, oh, you know a decent amount. And they're like, oh, well, no, I mean, after like 9 months, I should know this. And they're like, no, not really. Like, what does that mean? 9 months is different to you and me. And I hear lots of people that tell me they know Spanish, and I'll post like a simple meme, and they'll be like, what did she say? I don't get it. And I'm like, really, bro? This is like a first grade joke. Like, this is not complex stuff. So, uh, like I said, comprehensible input. I know everyone on the internet says that, but it's true. If you can understand it, then you can get the context of it, um, and then you can make something out of it. Planet Mula, what level of Spanish would you say you're at? Because I'm about to grab a book off of my bro. Puerto Rico. That's this level. I purposely put my hand off the screen to let you know that level of Spanish is different, bro. If you were not born and raised in that, even moving there, you're gonna be struggling, bro. Like my wife's first language is Spanish. When we go to Puerto Rico, sometimes I translate for her, bro. Like I'd be like, oh, he said this, and she'd be like, what? I didn't understand none of that. Totally different Spanish. So like, hopefully, if you want to live in Puerto Rico, you've been learning Puerto Rican Spanish and not like some other kind of Spanish because totally different. The way the letters are pronounced, the actual vocabulary, it's not the hardest, it's just different. Like for instance, um Nick, hola, what's up, bro? Um for instance, trash can, right? I don't even know I don't even know what like Mexicans and other people say for trash can. I believe like I know like American Spanish speakers they just say basura, right? Same way like we say trash, throw it in the trash, even though it's trash can. I know American Spanish speakers say basura. I think native Spanish speakers like in Mexico might say basurero. I don't know. But in Puerto Rico, it's zafacón. Bro, it's a totally different word. So if you've been learning basura your whole life or your whole Spanish journey and you go to Puerto Rico and someone says, hey, échale en la zafacón. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be like, oh, like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, it's different. I said la, but it's el zafacón. I was just thinking of basura. I see my brain's all messed up from trying to think of what other people say. But that's the difference. Like, different vocabulary, different style of talking. If you don't know already, Caribbean Spanish speakers don't say R at the end of words. So let me think of a word that you might know already. Okay, the word for talk, right? Hablar. Like a regular Spanish speaker is gonna say hablar. They're gonna roll the R at the end. In Puerto Rico, it's hablar, like you said with the L at the end. So, por favor, amor, mi amor. It's different. It's totally different. So if you're not used to hearing L's at the end of words, you're gonna be like, what is that? Like I don't understand like what he's saying. Like eso es lo que tiene que hacer, not hacer. Come on, bro. Like this motorcycle is making me messing up. Yeah, it is weird. It's weird if you're not used to it, but if you were from there or you lived there, or that's the Spanish that you were learning, you're that yeah, that's how people talk. Like if you listen to Bad Bunny and all these guys, like you're gonna be like, oh yeah, like that's what they say. They're not gonna say poder, they're gonna say poder. Yeah, it's normal. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you really want to go live in Puerto Rico, that's what you need to be focusing on. Like, oh, I need to learn Puerto Rican Spanish. I need to watch Puerto Rican shows. I need to listen to Puerto Rican news because that's not just like a rapper thing. Everyone talks like that. There is a really rich part of Puerto Rico where people say R's, but even those R's are not rolled. It's like how I don't want to bring race into it. So I'm gonna say it's how a gringo would say an R in Spanish. They say it like that because they're more like affluent and they're trying to sound like gringos, like basically. So I got a good Mexican dad joke. Okay, let's hear it. And Planet Mula, what I was gonna tell you is that I got all these kiddie Spanish books right here from 5, 4, 3 years ago when I was like doing comprehensible input. And I would read like little kids' books because I wasn't ready for podcasts and radio stations. So I would literally read little kids' books and I would try to understand what they were saying without looking it up. Like that's important, right? I don't want to look it up. I want to understand what they're saying. So depending on what level you're at, I will pick up a book right now. We could read some sentences and you could tell me what you think it means. And we could really get into it. Or I could pick up a real book. I have a book that I bought in Puerto Rico that's written in Puerto Rican dialect. And we could do that too. I don't remember what level of Spanish you're at. How do Mexicans cut pizza? She said it's a Mexican dad joke. It has to be something like, I don't know. How do they cut pizza? And when you come across a word you didn't know, no, that's the point. The point is you're coming across words that you didn't know, but you're going to pick them up from the context. For instance, they cut more than one. That's funny. Oh, that's not even. Oh, you're guessing, or do you actually know that joke? I'm guessing that's the answer though, because that makes sense. Or one piece at a time with little. Okay, that's actually funny. Okay, I like that. It's only funny if you read it, if you read like Cesar's in Spanish though. If you say with little, oh, I guess you could say with Little Caesars. Like, okay, 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 okay. Alright, with Little Caesars. That is funny. I gotta give that to you. That's gonna only be funny if somebody delivers it the right way. If you do it like you just did, and someone has to read it, they might read it the wrong way. Like, nah, I like that though. That's a good joke. Back to what I was saying, Planet Moolah. I'm gonna try to think of a word that you might not know. Just say yes or no. Do you know the word masticate? Do you know the word masticate? Oh, John, I just saw that you said you need to speak more. Yes, 100%. Speaking is one of four skills: speaking, reading, writing, listening. Doesn't matter how good you are at these three. If you don't speak, you will not be good at speaking. Okay, perfect. Planet Mula. If you don't know masticating, you also don't know this word in Spanish, which is the common word in Spanish, but it's the sophisticated word in English. What I'm going to tell you is that my jaw hurts because I was masticating earlier, and the steak that I was masticating was really tough. It was cooked well done, and that's why I don't like well done steak, because I have to masticate so much that my jaw muscles get tired. What do you think masticate means? Say what you think. Could be wrong, could be right. If you get the wrong answer, chew. Exactly. You just learned a word through context that you didn't know before because of the words that were around it. That's how you pick up new vocabulary. You do it in English all the time. You don't have to get a dictionary every time you hear a word. You just hear it and you're like, that probably means this. The more you hear that word, the more you'll be like, okay, I'm certain that means this. For your info, masticar is how you say chew in Spanish. Most fancy words in English are common words in Spanish. So there you go. Just like we could say I took a piss, or you could say I urinated. Orinar is urinate, but that's how people are gonna say that they pissed. We don't usually say urinate, and we're unless we're in a really professional setting. I don't say urinate. I say I gotta pee, I gotta take a piss, whatever. But orinar is gonna be a common word in Spanish. Masticar is a common word in Spanish. That's how normal people across the board are gonna say it. So, Planet Mula, what level of Spanish do we think we're at? What, like, I don't know, maybe write me a sentence in Spanish about anything. Answer me in Spanish. First year college level, that means nothing to me. I didn't take Spanish in college. Let's say, tell me something that you did today in Spanish. And I might be able to tell by the grammar that you use. Or tell me something that you wish would happen or that you hoped did happen. While you're doing that, I'm gonna read my wife's text. Trying to reply to my wife, I dropped my phone. Luckily, it did not crack. I would have been pissed. All right, answer me this. Was the word that you were like the conjugated form of the verb is the root word that you were trying to use manejar? Okay. Drive, ride, similar. So you don't know how to talk you don't know how to talk. Do you know how to talk in the past tense? You can answer that as yes or no, or you can be more specific and say, um, I know this, but I don't know this. But I'm 99% sure the word that you're looking for is manejar. Okay, you can't talk in the past tense. Okay. Before I go grab this book, let me just tell you that regardless of what level you're at in Spanish, talking in the past tense is 100% necessary. It's so important. If you think about the conversation that you have on a daily basis, I'm a random person. This is in English, by the way, but it applies to Spanish. I walk up to you. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? That's in the present tense, right? I say, what's up? How's it going? A lot of stuff after that's in the past tense. I'm like, hey, what'd you do today? Past tense. If you don't know how to say that in Spanish and I ask you, ¿qué hiciste? ¿Qué hiciste hoy? You're not going to know what to say. Or you're going to say, I do these things. And I'm going to be like, okay. I ask you, what did you do? What'd you eat today? ¿Qué comiste hoy? Right? Lots of everything that I'm going to ask you is either in the past or in the future. ¿Qué vas a hacer? What are you going to do? ¿Qué vas a hacer este fin de semana? Like, what are you going to do this weekend? What are you going to eat? ¿Qué vas a comer? Right? We're all over here, though. When you talk in the present tense exactly, you're either saying, I'm doing this thing right now, or I habitually do these things, right? Like, me levanto, no sé, a las 4, right? That means I normally get up at 4 o'clock. If I want to say that I woke up at 4 o'clock today, I have to say me levanté. I can't say me levanto because you're going to think I'm saying that's my routine. I wake up at 4. Me levanté a las 4 hoy, right? So you definitely need to know how to talk in the past tense. Give me, y'all hold tight. Give me 1 minute. I'm gonna go use the bathroom. When I come back from the bathroom, I'm gonna grab a random book off of the shelf. We're gonna read a little bit in Spanish, and we'll try to get you to guess the context of some words, right? But I gotta pee real bad. All right, let's see what we got on the shelf. Oh, where's the baby books? Uh, where's all my baby books at? Bro, I feel like somebody stole my books. Live sport, libro mágico, Spanish for teachers. Huh. Esperanza. Bruh, Somebody definitely stole my books. Okay, this works though. This is good enough. Harry Potter. Let's see. This is good. This is good. Huh. Good enough. Okay. So, oh, yeah, orinar, not urinar, but yeah, yes, fue. Fui means me in the past tense, right? So, fui, me fui, right? But if you want to say he or she left, say fue, right? But then again, that could have just been a typo by you. Don't know. Would I ever take the daily exam for career purposes? If I need to take like a certification for something, I will, but I don't find it necessary. Like stuff like all certifications are to say, "Hey, person, I want you to know that I can do this." I haven't applied to this point for a Spanish speaking job that is like, hey, we need you to speak Spanish and we need you to prove that you know this level of Spanish. If I have to do that, I will. If not, then I won't. Like the job that I have now, my job is to tell people stuff in English. It just so happens that there's a lot of Puerto Rican soldiers here that speak Spanish first, and I'm like, hey, I can help you guys. Or they're like, hey, I didn't understand that shit in English. And I'm like, okay, they said this. But I don't need a certification to tell people that, right? So, what are you more proud of, your bodybuilding or Spanish fluency? I'm not a bodybuilder, and I'm proud of both of them the same. Both of them are like the things I've achieved with my body and my mind are the same to me. It's just self improvement, just like the title of this, right? Self improvement. I started in one place, I stayed consistent, then I got to another place. And I do both of those things for one to to give meaning to my life and to improve myself, but also just to show people like you or anyone else that like, hey, I'm a regular person, bro. I'm not like some genius, right? Like when I wanted to learn Spanish, I would see all these people and I would think like, well, yeah, that guy learned and she learned because they're like language geniuses and regular people can't learn that shit in a year and blah blah blah. So I did it just to show people like, yo, I'm a regular everyday person that goes to work, that doesn't live in a Spanish speaking country. I don't even live in a Spanish speaking state, bro. I don't live in Texas or something like that, like where lots of people speak Spanish. Yes, there's Spanish speakers here, but primarily you speak to English speakers. And no one knows you speak Spanish unless you tell them. So it's not like Miami or something like that, right? So this book is not um it's not a beginner's book exactly because I think my wife moved all my beginner's books somewhere. And I don't want to spend like 15 minutes looking for them while y'all like on live waiting for me. So I'm gonna read some sentences out of this book, which I would say like is an intermediate book, right? But I'll read some stuff, try to get you to translate it into English, and I'll tell you how correct you are. First, let me answer this. Have I heard Argentine rock? I know some songs from some people that are from Argentina. I don't know if it's considered Argentine rock. Have you ever heard the song like Ya no sé qué hacer conmigo? You know that song? If you do, then I know that song. If that's not considered Argentine rock, then I might not know Argentine rock. So, Planet Mula, are you ready? John, if you want to participate in this too, are you ready? I'm gonna read like the most simple sentences on the page. It's not gonna be nothing crazy. Okay, listo. Let's see. The very first sentence on this page is Entonces llegó la policía. Planet Mula. Do you know what that means? Give me your best shot in English and we can talk about why it was wrong or right or what you need to work on. But this is actually like, even though this is not a real conversation, this is what happens in real conversation. Someone says something to you and you realize you don't know and you're like, oh shit, I hope this is right. uh and then you find out maybe you're not right. uh Cuarteto de Nos. Let me see. Oh, it is. They're from Uruguay. I was okay. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know any Argentine rock because they're from Uruguay, but that makes sense because Uruguay, Argentina, not that far away from each other. Entonces llegó la policía. That is your sentence, Planet Mula. Is that a good enough repetition for you before I tell you what it really means? Then the police arrived. Yeah, more or less, yes. It's almost the same, only it's a rebel province. Okay, how do I say your name? Am I supposed to say Quinn? Because it's like QU1N. I don't know if that's like, if that stands for something or if it's like a way to say Quinn. Just let me know so I can make sure I'm saying your like whatever you want me to call you correctly. But yes, the police arrived more or less. So you can understand the past tense. So you need to work on saying it, right? And that's what I was saying. Like you learn that kind of stuff through conversation. You might understand someone else when they use the past tense, and you're like, oh man, like how do I tell them, right? But all of this stuff is a pattern. That's what I like about Spanish. All regular verbs they act the same way. All irregular verbs, for the most part, act the same way. Enye, pero enye, where, bro? What? Okay, are you typing? You must be typing that on accident. I can understand most Spanish sentences on paper, but when someone speaks, but not when someone speaks super fast. Okay, maybe we'll go to a more difficult sentence then. We'll make sure. Okay. El policía se agachó junto a mí y dijo. The next sentence we're gonna wait. El policía se agachó junto a mí y dijo. You tell me what you think that means. I'm making random observations about live streamers. I'm guessing you always saw Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince as the father figure you always wanted. You probably like string cheese and you own 3 cats. Hey, I remember you. No. No. You're super wrong. I always thought Uncle Phil was weird. I have a dad. I've always had a dad, so I'm not. Uh, I've never always wanted a father figure. I have my own father. String cheese is kind of weird to me, and I have no cats. I don't like cats or dogs. I have a dog, but I don't like pets in general. Okay, that sentence you don't know. Let's talk about why you don't know it. You subbed last time. Okay, hey, respect. I remember you saying that, but I didn't know if you really subbed, you know. Okay, I'll repeat it. El policía se agachó junto a mí y dijo, I'm gonna type it. Oh, actually, I can't type because on my laptop, I can't type. I can't type the accent mark, so I don't want to throw you off by that. Let me know. You know, as a matter of fact, you type what you understood in that sentence, and I will fill in the blanks for you, and we'll talk about maybe. No, there's no sun. I want you to. All right, I'm gonna say it in Spanish. I want you to type it in Spanish. I want you to type what you hear me say in Spanish, right? El policía se agachó junto a mí y dijo, right? No, not hijo, dijo. As someone who speaks Spanish, I can confirm that it is one of the easiest languages to learn. Well, bro, like your opinion automatically becomes invalid because you speak Spanish. It's like me saying that English is easy to learn because I speak English. That might be true, but because I speak English, I automatically think it's easy because it's my native language, right? So it depends on what language you come from. If you come from another Romance language, French, Portuguese, Italian, Spanish is easy to learn. I think it's actually pretty easy to learn for English speakers too. But I don't know about the easiest or one of the easiest. It is low. It's low tier. Like obviously Arabic, Chinese, and or Mandarin, Japanese, and all that stuff are way more difficult. But Spanish has its difficulties. I think Spanish is easy to start speaking and it's hard to master. And I think the same thing about English. I think if you come to the United States in like 3 months, you could probably start putting sentences together. They're just wrong, but we can understand them. Like if someone says like, let me try to think of like what my Spanish speaking friends say, where I'm just like, oh, that's so wrong, but I know what you're trying to say. What did she say yesterday? She said, let me think about that. I gotta think about what she said. We were dancing and she said something like, she said something like "stay with my hand," but she was really saying "hold my hand." But she said something like "stay with my hand," and then we do this, right? But just little stuff like that, or like sometimes Spanish speakers will say like what what happened when they're saying when they want to say what's happening because a lot of Spanish speakers will say "qué pasó" when they're talking about like what's happening right now. Like they want to know what happened, but as it relates to the situation right now. But we will say, "Hey, what's going on?" Like, and they say, "What happened?" And it's like that's not technically wrong, but that's we don't say that, right? Okay, let's go back to you. The police. I don't know the rest. Okay, do you know what se agachó? Se agachó. Do you know what that means? Se agachó. If you don't know what that means, do you know what agacharse? Do you know that in the regular form? Okay, that's the first part. If you don't know a vocabulary word, obviously that destroys your whole understanding of the sentence. Okay, in this case, there really is no. Bro, you speak Spanish. You don't get like. Of course you know. Yeah, but obviously that's the sentence, right? In this case, in this sentence, there's no context. If you don't know agacharse, like you just don't know. The best way you could really describe that in English in this situation is kind of like bending over. Sometimes you could use it as squatting too, but in this situation, he's bending over to talk to this kid, right? And so, like, the kid is narrating it, and he says, "El policía se agachó junto a mí," like next to me, right? Kind of like together with me. And that's the thing about context and interpreting. It's really not good to go word by word um, and translate because the way we say things are different. So you could say like someone sat down together, like we sat down together, this person sat down together with me, but in our normal everyday speaking, we would say they sat down next to me. Even it doesn't like that's what I'm saying. Like even though this word, if you directly translate it, like junto a mí is not gonna be next to me. It doesn't matter. What's more important is getting the context, like picturing the shit in your mind. That's what good. That's what reading is good for. Like you learn these words and like you kind of imagine the situation. Like he just said, the policeman crouched. Crouch is not a word that I would use. Crouch is the correct word. But if I'm talking about getting down, I say I squatted down. I don't say I crouched down. I either say I squatted down or I say I bent over or I bent down. Crouch is like a Englishman word. It's like a word that British people use or people that are not from a place that I'm from, which is why direct translations are not always the best. They can be correct, but that doesn't mean it's how you talk. And so that's what I was talking about last live stream when I said being an interpreter is difficult. Because if you said crouch to somewhere where I'm from, they're gonna be like, "What is crouching? Like, why'd you say crouch?" And people are like, they're gonna be like, "You mean crotch?" Like, no, not a crotch. Crouching is like getting down, but it's not a word that someone from where I'm from might use commonly. So that's why, like I said, it's more important to get context and understand the concept of something versus learning a word, which is what happens on Duolingo. You learn a word, you learn a direct translation, and you're like, this means this, but it doesn't always mean that, right? So, but he's absolutely correct. The policeman crouched is 100% a good translation. It's not what I would say, it's just a good translation. Yeah, learning more words is always good, bro. There's nothing wrong with not knowing words. You're learning another language. You can't know all the words. We don't even know all the words in our own language. Phil, I just saw you say you were back. What's up? How was your run, bro? Planet Mula, are you ready for the next sentence or not? Listo. Okay. Ooh. I am going to. I'm gonna say this sentence in a very like as much neutral as I can accent, right? Because like we were talking about earlier, right? I learned from Caribbean Spanish speakers, and we'll pronounce the end of this word a little bit different, but I'm gonna try to say it very, very clear. Okay, when you hear this sentence, me estaba haciendo demasiadas preguntas. Demasiadas preguntas. Me estaba haciendo demasiadas preguntas. What do you hear? You can tell me in English or in Spanish. I would try to do both. Am I from Puerto Rico? No, I'm not from Puerto Rico. I was not born there. I learned Spanish from Puerto Ricans and Colombians. So that is what I'm used to hearing, what I'm used to saying. But no, I'm not from Puerto Rico, if that's what you're asking. Went pretty good. Oh, so you were just on like a real time run. And when you said 30-minute run earlier, I didn't know if you meant like you were just gonna run for 30 minutes or if like you were going for a certain distance and hoping to hit it in 30 minutes or what. Okay, the word you're looking for right there, repetir. Um, okay, but I'm gonna tell you the sentence again. Me estaba haciendo demasiadas preguntas. Hey Quinn, where are you from, bro? Are you from Argentina? Nah, just 30 minutes recovery run from the hill sprints yesterday. How much are you running, Phil? Like how every day or what? Okay, Quinn is from Argentina. Okay. Che, boludo. Vos sos un boludo. Pelotudo. I just wanted to do that. Don't hate me. Asking too many questions. Vontae. Okay. Vontae is in the building. You were asking too many questions. Okay. Now, I'm gonna repeat it again. Cause you gotta get more specific. All right. I'm gonna tell you something that English speakers struggle with, including me when I first learned Spanish. And then I'm gonna tell you the sentence again, and maybe you can identify how you can get more specific with your response or with your translation. English speakers struggle with the fact that most native Spanish speakers put the receiver of the action first. So in English, I don't want to ruin this. I don't want to. I don't want to give you the answer, but I might just give you the answer. In English, I'll say, "Hey, you're asking me. You're asking me too many questions." Whereas the Spanish speaker is not gonna point that person out first. They're gonna point themselves out first, and then say what the next person is doing to them. Right? It's just like me gusta. Like you don't say like in English, I say like I like this, but in Spanish, well, fuck, that one's different. That one's different. That was a bad example. But the point is, like I said, in Spanish, like the receiver of the action goes first most of the time, right? Almost all the time, but most of the time. So I'm gonna say the sentence again. Me estaba haciendo demasiadas preguntas, right? Give me a more accurate translation of that. Quinn, what'd you think of my Argentinian Spanish, bro? Let me try to think if I know some more things. Negro de mierda. I watched what is that show called? I watched El Marginal. And so they say that shit like every 5 seconds. Like, negro de mierda. Sos un boludo. Pelotudo. Saturday is dedicated. Oh, okay, 5 days a week. Rest Monday and Saturday. Saturday is dedicated for lifting, but I lift something every day. It looks perfect on you. That could either be a regular compliment or a really good joke. I'm gonna assume that I'm gonna assume that was a good joke. If it wasn't, just pretend like it was a good joke, because that was a good joke. Messed up. No. Okay, I'll tell you. How about this? I'll tell you some things that you got wrong, and you can do one correction, or you can correct your sentence one time, and we'll see how it goes. So, estabas is the wrong form. Siento is the wrong word. You put demasiado, but that doesn't match the gender of preguntas. It doesn't match the plurality or the gender of preguntas. So remember, in Spanish, things have to match, right? I can't say like, oh, we can just use this for an example, right? Preguntas. Preguntas is plural and it's feminine. In the singular form, it's una pregunta, la pregunta, right? If it was just one, then you can say la pregunta. If it's more than one, las preguntas. Algunas preguntas, unas preguntas, right? So, demasiado doesn't fit preguntas because it's O and it's singular. So, hearing all of that, hearing that siento is wrong, estabas is the wrong form, and that demasiado doesn't fit preguntas. We're going to say the sentence again, And you get one time to try to correct your sentence. Okay, me estaba haciendo demasiadas preguntas. Something I know about English is that words have no gender. Yes, you're correct. Most of the time, words have no gender. I talked about this earlier, but you weren't in the live yet. Sometimes we give words gender, but it's not like Spanish. We'll say like if you have a car, right? You'll say, "Man, yeah, you like my girl? Like she pretty. She pretty." We call the girl. We call the car a girl, but it's not. Everyone doesn't have to call the car a girl. Like you just do it because like you're like making it more personal to you. People do that with their boats. Um, they'll say like I don't know, like they'll name it. They'll literally give it a girl name and say, yeah, she's a beauty. She's pretty. She's ready to go. But it's not universal like Spanish. Like you know what I'm saying? Like barco, right? Is masculine. Like you, it is. Everyone calls it that. It's different. In English, we don't have gender. It's the table, the chair, the microphone, the book. All of it is just the or a book, a microphone, a cup, a chair, blah blah blah. Is it? I was asking too many questions. Close, but no. So in this case, the first thing is me, right? Me estaba haciendo demasiadas preguntas. You're asking me too many questions. And the only thing I will give you is that this is one sentence out of context, right? So you don't know who Estaba is referring to. A native speaker like Quinn probably can, like, he probably doesn't even think about it. He's like, clearly somebody's asking me too many questions. But in Spanish, the first and the third the first and the third person, and like a lot of like the past tense stuff. Not the simple past, but the very far back past. Right? It's like it's the same. Or in the subjunctive, it's the same. So like you can only kind of know through context or like just through common sense. Like I'm not asking myself questions, right? Me estaba haciendo demasiadas preguntas. Like only someone else would be asking me questions. I could be asking myself questions, but like in the context of this book, we were just talking about a policeman crouched down next to a boy and shit like that, right? You know, the policeman is asking his boy questions. So the boy is saying to the policeman, "Me estaba haciendo demasiadas preguntas," right? Yes. Hey, but we got Quinn in here, native Spanish speaker. So anything, hey, you can ask him questions. You know what I mean? I learned Spanish. He's gonna know even more than me. Sometimes native Spanish speakers, or sometimes native speakers of any language, don't always know the rules because you just do it. But they know, for the most part, they know if something's right or like he's not gonna have any trouble hearing anything I say or whatever like that. So, but this is actually there's a sentence in here that's a good example of what I'm talking about. Actually, so this sentence is different than you might hear it a lot of times in real life. Like I said earlier, right? A lot of times, Spanish speakers, most of the time, they're gonna put the receiver of the action first. But right here, el policía dijo, voy a preguntarte una vez más. Most of the time in real life, it's not gonna be said like that. It's gonna be like te voy a, te voy a, te voy a, te voy a, te voy a. But you can flip flop the sentence, like it's like acceptable. It's just it's not as common in my experience. Quinn might have something else to say. Um, so like when I first started learning Spanish, I was super uncomfortable with saying um, like te lo voy a decir. Like I would have to say, oh, like voy a decir, voy a decirte algo. I would feel uncomfortable saying te voy a decir, right? Te lo voy a decir. Like it just didn't feel right because that's not how we say it in English. And then like you just get like everyone, like I said earlier, you get input, and you hear everyone saying it the same way, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna say it like everyone else because I feel weird. It feels weird not talking like everyone else. So going back way earlier in the chat, like 2 hours ago, we talked about how in other languages, like Japanese, it's consistent. It's always, what was it? Like subject, object, verb, something like that. But it's always like that. Whereas in English, I can say here I am, or I can say hey, I'm here. It just kind of depends on the situation. It's like that in Spanish too. You can put the receiver first or last depending on the situation. So the inconsistency makes it a little bit more difficult to grasp, but that's just how it works, man. That's just how it works. Hey, Quinn, what part of Argentina are you from? All right, Planet Mula, are you ready for the next sentence? Mendoza. I don't even know where that's at. I don't know why I asked, bro. I literally don't know anything in Argentina. I know Buenos Aires. That's all I know. Like I said, I watched El Marginal, and that's literally it. Oh no, you know what? I watched another show too. Or I'm in the middle of watching it. It's called damn. I probably can look on my YouTube. It's on my YouTube X Plus. How do I hold on? I'm gonna click off of this real fast so I can look at my subscriptions. Oh yeah, I mean I still got my phone, so I'm good. Let's see, originals. I can't remember exactly. It's something like El Puntero or something like that. Oh, yep. El Puntero. You seen it, bro? But yeah, I'm watching that right now. I'm in the middle of it. So I get to hear all this Argentinian slang. That shit's mad funny, bro. Cause like it's so different to me. Sometimes I have to pause it, bro. I have to pause it and like sometimes it's so weird you can't even get it like through the context. Like I'm just like, what does that mean, bro? Like what kind of slang is that? Okay, Planet Mula. Listo. Okay. I'm gonna say it real slow, right? I'm say it real slow. El policía me miró durante un rato sin hablar. You tell me what you think I said. Actually, I want you to tell me what you think I said in Spanish. I think it's gonna help you. Don't just try to translate. Like transcribe what you heard me say. El policía me miró durante un rato sin hablar. No, tell me, transcribe what you think I said in Spanish. El policía el policía me miró durante un rato sin hablar. Bueno, te voy a decir algo en español, ¿ok? Estoy un poco borracho. But I don't want to say that in English. I try to keep certain stuff like private. It's a family. It's a family stream. So. Eh, okay, that's close. But this, all right. So, like I said earlier, right? This is a game time situation. Obviously like I play sports and stuff, so I got to use like sports analogies. This is game time. You practice and you get to the game, and the game reveals mistakes. So what we've noticed from your performance tonight is that you have trouble with hearing and understanding subjects in a sentence. Like your vocabulary is not bad. If you think your vocabulary is bad, it's not. Like it's good. You understood. I mean, it's in this case is el policía. You understood that. You got miró. You got rato. You got sin hablar. But you just missed out on just a small couple of things. So I'm gonna say it a little bit slower. And we'll go through it again. El policía me miró durante un rato sin hablar. Right? So you put miró de me rato, which so okay, so all right, now you got durante. Okay, you made a mistake, so I'm gonna put your correction with it. Me miró durante. Now you're just missing one thing. El policía me miró durante un rato sin hablar. If you don't know what un rato is, I'll tell you after you try to spell it yourself. Do you know what un rato is? Un ratito? Un ratico? Yes, he said the police woman because he said la policía. So Planet Mula, don't worry about that too much. That's that's a really tough part about Spanish. First they tell you if it ends in an A it's feminine, if it ends in an O it's masculine, and then they say, "Oh, well, sometimes that's not true." And sometimes if you want to say a man in a profession, the profession doesn't change. It's not gonna be policio. That doesn't happen. Policia is policia. But if you want to indicate that it's a man or a woman, then you change the beginning, right? So it gets a little confusing. Like you think policia, you're like, oh, I have to say la. Sometimes yes, not all the time. Or like, what's another good word? Like atleta, like an athlete, right? Atleta doesn't change. It's always atleta. But like, yeah. So, anyways, you did good. No, you did good. Like I said, the only thing that changes is like you put la policía, but it's el policía. Me miro. You can't put accent marks because I'm guessing you're on a laptop. If you can put accent marks, you need to start doing that because it'll really help you understand what you're saying. But all right, let's see where are we at. Yeah, el policía me miró. You got that. Durante un rato. Did you ever? You never told me. Do you know what un rato is, bro? Do you know what that is? If you don't know, I'll tell you. Sin hablar. I think it's easier to learn English for people who speak Spanish than Spanish for people who learn English. Or than Spanish for people who speak English. Yes. No, I agree, bro. I agree to an extent. Like I said earlier, I think English is easier to learn to put sentences together, but I think it's harder to master. Um I think if you just start learning English in 3 months, you could be just like talking. You could be having conversations. But there's little stuff that we say that you wouldn't know, or that we would know that you don't speak, that you learned English because of the way that you say the vowels. Like for instance, the biggest thing with Spanish speakers is that Spanish is really phonetic and it's really short sounds, right? So like, um, let's just use the word cursi, right? Cursi, like that. U is real cursi, but in English, the U is like rule, right? It's rule. It's not rule. It's rule. It's an extra sound. It's U, and then there's like a small W. Rule. So when Spanish speakers learn English, they tend to use their Spanish sounds with English words. They say like pool instead of pool. We say pool. Like I'm gonna jump in the pool. We don't say pool. Or they say like I don't know, just different stuff like that. But I agree. I think English is easier to learn. Hey, Will, ¿qué hubo? ¿Qué más? Okay, Planet Mula. Un rato is como like a while. It's like, yeah, like a while. Depends on the context, but it's like saying a while. Bien. Bien. Bien, dijo el Cucho. Cucho, ¿qué hace? English movies help to pronounce words well. Well, that's how I learn. Hey Quinn, do you live in Argentina or do you live in the United States? Uh, oh, you live in Argentina. Would you feel comfortable doing a video in English? Because I like to make videos with people that learned a second language. We should do a video in English and talk about how you learned English. I think that would be really fun. ¿Cuál es mi tema hoy? Bro, no tengo un tema, bro. Estoy hablando con cualquier persona que entre, bro. ¿Cuál es tu tema? Wilmer. Argentina reminds me of a European country. Well, they say Argentinians are like mainly Italians. That's why they talk like this. Che, boludo. Pelotudo. I need to learn some more Argentinian words instead of those two words. Negro de mierda. But anyways, Planet Mula. So in that sentence, it was basically saying like the policeman looked at me for a while without talking. That's another thing that trips up English speakers. Whenever you're beginning a sentence in Spanish, or if you're saying like without doing something, like in English, if I say, "Hey, do this for me," without talking, I say talking, right? But it's not the same in Spanish. Like hablando means that somebody is talking. But if you're talking about someone did something without talking, or you want them to do something without talking, then you say sin hablar. You don't say sin hablando because it's not the same as English. It's different, right? So you only say hablando if someone is actually doing the action. Just in case you didn't know that. That trips up a lot of people. So Uh, Another one that gets people, I think, is like, what's a good one? Okay, in English, if somebody comes to my house, or you know, if I invited if someone anywhere, or they come to my wedding or whatever, I say thanks for coming. I don't say thanks for come, right? I say pause. I don't say thanks for come. I say thanks for coming. But in Spanish, like once you say sin por blah blah blah, like it's gracias por venir, like not viniendo algo like that. Like it's gracias por venir, gracias por preguntar, blah blah blah. Phil, I was kind of hoping you were still here, Phil. Once I said it, I was like, no, pause. I have descent from Western Europe, but more specifically in Spain. That's cool. But I also have English. The better word there will be English descent. Could it be that I understand English more because of that? I don't know. If you got spoken to in English, it's possible. Maybe. Planet Mula is similar because both have Latin roots, says Will. Oh, I didn't even see your question, bro. How similar are Portuguese and Spanish? Okay, you see that guy right there, Wilmer? He speaks Spanish and Portuguese and English. So he could, yeah, like he just said, similar because they both have Latin roots. He could tell you about that because he speaks two really good, and he speaks three. He speaks English too. So Quinn, you didn't answer my question, bro. All right, wait, Quinn. How old are you? First of all, how old are you? Also, my wife's gonna be back home any second now, so whenever she comes home, I'm definitely gonna turn this off just to let y'all know. Quinn, how old are you? I know you can hear me. Oh, you didn't hear me. Nos vemos mañana en la clase. Ok, chao. Chao pues. Nos pillamos mañana, Cucho. You were making your bed. Yeah, you gotta be 13 years old, bro. How old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienes, bro? Well, whenever Quinn answers, I have 14. Okay. All right, that's Quinn. I'm gonna tell you something. This is a good example. Planet Mula, if you're watching right now, this is a good example of how um, we can't exactly do translations from one language to the other. Because in Spanish, you say tengo, right? Tengo blank años. Tengo 30 años. Él tiene 14 años. But in English, we don't say we have years. We say I am. So he is 14 years old. I am 30 years old. Actually, I'm 31. I just realized I'm 31. So, Quinn, you are 14 years old. You need to say, I'm going to type it for you just in case. I am 14 years old. Okay, I don't know if we can do a video then, because you're a minor. Menor de edad. If you end the live, this was still very helpful. Oh, glad. I'm glad you're still watching, John. I didn't know if you were still on here or not. Um, Thanks for your help today. Oh, it's nothing, bro. I'm happy to help. I wish when I was learning that there was like anybody that I could have asked any kind of questions to. Yeah, okay, pause. Yeah. The fact that you're 14 years old and you're in Argentina and you understand this much Spanish, super impressive, bro. I'm very impressed. Just in case you don't understand English, bro, me impresionaste con tu nivel de inglés. Es muy impresionante. Uh, Adam Smith, sup, bro? What's poppin'? What was I saying, Planet Moolah? I was saying, I don't know what I was saying now. I lost it. I lost it. But basically, I know at one point I was talking about, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just saying, like, when I was learning, right, there was no one, like, doing lives like this that I could, like, talk to. So that's what I try to do with these lives. I try to answer, like, any questions I can and, like, steer people in the right direction. Because I was, like, on YouTube typing, like, am I using this verb right? Am I doing this right? How do I use this? And I'll be like, yo, no one has made an example video out of this. Since that time period, there's a lot more like Spanish YouTube channels that have made all of these videos, but when I was learning, there like wasn't that many of them. Adam Smith, how's my Spanish journey been going? Uh, it's good. I don't really think about it anymore. I just speak in Spanish. You know what I mean? I work with Spanish speakers. My good friend who just left alive is in Colombia. Like he speaks enough English, but we only speak in Spanish to each other. So I'm at the point now, and I mean I've been here for I don't know half a year or so. Obviously, I still learn stuff, but I don't think of it like, oh, I'm about to speak in Spanish or oh, I'm blah 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 in Spanish. Like it's just another form of communication. The same way I'm speaking in English right now. If someone couldn't speak English, I would just speak to them in Spanish, but I wouldn't be like, oh no, I'm about to have to do this thing. Like I don't even it doesn't even register in my brain sometimes. Somebody could say something to me in Spanish, I just reply to them. Like my dance instructor only speaks Spanish. My like I said, my good friend only speaks Spanish. Some of the people I train at work only speak Spanish, so it's not like a process anymore. I just do it. Young Kobe, what's up, bro? Haven't seen you in a minute. I was wondering about you. I was like, man, maybe I've been getting on too late or something like that. Usually you be popping up in the lives. I hadn't seen you in a minute, bro. But yeah, Quinn, you very impressive. Quinn, do you have any tutors? I not only study English, but at the age of 9, I tried to learn Russian. Wow, you're very smart, bro. Do you have any tutors, like professors, or do you just learn by watching shows and uh, like TV and stuff like that? And like YouTube, obviously, right? You're learning words right now. If you wanna learn some words, bro, let me know. I'll teach you some new words. My boy Phil. I didn't mind. Okay. Type something in German then. Tell me something in German, because I know a little bit of German. Auf Wiedersehen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 30, 40, 50. Oh yeah, you nervous now. Está sudando. Está cagado. Come on, tell me something in German. Type something in German. Let me see if you really know German. I did Duolingo for like 6 months back in high school, but didn't really learn much Spanish. Yeah, I've talked about that on here before. Planet Moolah. I've told him that Duolingo is not the best thing to learn. The best thing to learn is talking, which you joined in a little bit late, and I don't know how much more we're gonna do. But whenever this live gets published, just go back a little bit. I read him some sentences and got him to kind of think about the words he was hearing. The best way to learn is literally from listening and talking. Like that's just what you have to do. Just like a little kid, your parents say, "Bring me that." Hey, bring me that. Bring me that. Bring me that. No, no, bring me that. Eventually, you understand. Bring me that means I need to pick up this thing and take it to my parents. Even if you don't know what each individual word means, you hear "bring me that," you know what it means. And your brain is it's a pattern detector, it's a language learner, it's built to do this, which is why lots of people speak four languages casually. It's not something that's supposed to be very difficult. People just make the learning process more difficult than it has to be. Okay, Gwen dijo, oh, estis, no, I don't know, I don't even know how to say it. Estis, well, ¿qué significa eso? I'm at a B1 right now in my Spanish, but I'm trying to get to C1 this year. That's cool. I don't really know that scale. We talked about that earlier too. Those things are cool, like if you need to prove to someone that you speak the language, but outside of that, like, if you took a test and it said you were, I don't know, C1 or C2, but like I started talking to you and you didn't understand anything I said, I would be like, okay, so you don't know. You don't know Spanish. So, same thing. If someone took a test and it said that they were like B2, but they're, on vacation talking to everyone and you can't, I'll be like, does that classification really matter? Like, but if you're just using it as a measure of like progress, that's good. Like just, try to level up, try to learn new stuff. No, I know what it is. I don't know it in depth. Like I don't really know the difference between like B2 and C1 or like B1 and B2. I know it's like ABC. I know C2 is like the highest, like basically like native level or native like fluency. But like B1, what I'm saying is it doesn't mean anything to me because I have like no I have no context. Like I don't know anyone that does that, so I can't be like, oh, okay, if you're a B1, you probably know these sentences and these like, you know what I mean? Like I asked Planet Moolah earlier what level he was at. He said first year college, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. So I asked him, can you speak in the past tense? Can you speak in the future tense? Can you do this? That's gonna let me know what you can do. Because you could say you're intermediate and then you could say, I don't know the past tense. And I'll say, okay, well you're a beginner to me. If you can't speak in the past tense like easily, you're a beginner. Duolingo can be used to study, but the correct way is to read and really try to understand is to have passion in what you're learning. Yeah. Um, Quinn, also you have to speak. So it's one thing to understand because you might understand everything I'm saying right now on this podcast or this video, this YouTube live. But if we were in person and I asked you a question and you couldn't respond because you get tripped up and you say, well, well then we can't really communicate effectively. It's a lot easier to type too. It's everyone on this chat right now can Google things or take their time and think and say, how should I respond to this like this? But in a real conversation, there's a sense of urgency. If I say like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And you just go, I am going. It's like, bro, okay, you took too long. I don't even want to talk anymore. So there's a sense of urgency when we talk. When someone asks you what you ate today, you can say you don't remember, but that needs to be fast too. You can't say I don't like no. Like if you want to communicate, it has to be like kind of timely, right? On a live, like I said, like this, I just wait. If you take 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, well, hopefully Quinn responds. Hopefully Planet Moolah responds. But in real life, if we were face to face, you have to be able to respond. So talking is a skill for sure. Language aficionado. Aficionado. One thing to learn Spanish with a resource like Dreaming Spanish or something similar for other languages, but another is to do italki lessons to speak in reality or like yeah, yeah, yeah. So essentially, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I really remember, and I don't even want to tell this story. I've told this story like 100 times on here, but I remember being able to understand like everything, not everything, but a lot of what I was hearing on like videos like this, or like even when my wife's mom and her husband would talk, I'd be like, oh wow, my Spanish is getting good. And then they would ask me a question, and it's like my brain would know what to say, but I would just be like, es que, and I just like, it's like it wouldn't come out, bro, because talking is a skill. Like you have to practice speaking in conversation to get better at speaking in conversation. It's good to practice in the mirror. It's good to practice by yourself, but there's no pressure by yourself. You don't think about saying the wrong thing. If you say the wrong thing, you just correct it, whatever. But like having a real conversation, having the pressure of someone looking at you and waiting for your answer, like, what do you mean by that? And you're like, it's different. It's different. So all the videos in the world, all the apps in the world will never replace having real conversations, which is why you need to have real conversations. Get on italki. If anyone in this chat doesn't know what italki is, I'm gonna type it for you. Oh, wow, that is not what I was trying to do. What did I just do to my stream? Italki. Damn, I can't spell for shit. italki. If you don't know what italki is, it's an app where it like you can select a native speaker from another country, and there's like uh, there's like a community tutor and like a professional tutor. I don't know what it's called. Whatever. There's like basic and there's advanced. The basic you pay less for. It will be like talking to someone like me in English, right? I'm a native speaker, but I don't have any teaching certificates. I'm not an English professor. I'm just a native speaker. But we could have a conversation. You pay me $5 an hour or something like that. Let's talk. I can help you. You want to pay for a professor, it's a little bit more money, but you might get more quality out of it. But regardless, you'll be having real conversations, right? Or, of course, if you know someone in real life, just talk to them in real life. Um, but, it's a little bit inconvenient in real life. Like, no one wants to sit down for an hour with you and try to talk. If someone's getting paid money, they're more likely to do it. So, um, yeah, Duolingo is the way to go. Quinn, it's still difficult to pronounce some words in English. Yeah, that's normal, bro. You're 14 years old. You have so many years to learn. You got a good head start by being 14 years old. Like I learned a little bit of Spanish when I was your age, but it was like this much. I thought it was a lot because I was in school, but the school system is garbage at teaching languages. So I always wonder why I couldn't talk to people, or when I would listen to people in the streets, I didn't understand what they were saying. I'm like, man, they speak so fast. But what you come to find out is they don't really speak fast. You don't know anything. You think you know a lot, and you don't know anything. There's pretty much no one that I hear speaking out. I just think like it's so fast. Either I know what you just said or I don't know what you just said. But no one speaks like so fast. Well, obviously, there's like a few people that I'm like, that's a fast talker. Like in English, there's people that talk really fast. I don't talk fast. But for the most part, you come to find out when you don't understand someone, it's because you literally lack the knowledge, not that you don't understand the sounds. If you don't understand the sounds, then you're way, way in the beginner spectrum of things. Because that's the thing too, right? So like we talked about earlier, uh when you do like an application or someone's like really trying to teach you, they really break down all the words like te voy a decir. But when someone's talking, te voy a decir. Like if obviously like that's someone in the Caribbean, but it's just gonna kind of like blend together. But it's the same thing in English. Like I'm not gonna say, "Hey, what is up, man?" I'm gonna say, "Hey, what's up, man? What's up? How you doing, man?" Language aficionado, which is why it seems problematic if people use italki but speak in their native language while the tutor speaks the target language. Helps with the understanding, but what does it accomplish? So yeah, I have like I guess I have two different minds about that. I guess it depends on what stage you're at and like why you're doing it. If you're just doing it kind of out of fear, it's a little bit different. But I will say, like maybe even the stage that Planet Moolah is at right now. There's a stage where you're starting to grasp a lot of things, and you literally just can't form it yourself. And like I said, we could sit around 30 minutes and wait for you to maybe think of it, but it would be easier for you to just respond in English in the moment. And like as you get more comfortable and as it starts to become a more automatic process and you can actually hear everything, you like once you can do it, you should. But obviously there's that little stage right here where you're like, "Oh man, I'm starting to hear a lot of stuff. I don't know how to form these sentences, but I'm starting to make a lot of sense out of it." So, but I agree because, like I said, I was that person where I could understand a lot, and I'm like, oh, I'm just speaking English, just like nervous, just scared or whatever. But it doesn't help you. Like you need to speak in Spanish. Yeah, good point. These levels are a bit vague. Sometimes it's not clear where the border is between, for example, B2 and C1. Yeah, there never really can be. Like a test is standardized, and like I said, that's to let someone else know that you have like whatever base they're looking for. But if you don't know a topic, you still wouldn't know how to talk about it, right? You could be C1, and if I'm talking about rocket ships, I could be uh, B2, but I know about rocket ships and I know the vocabulary. You might still be lost. You know what I mean? So it's all a little bit subjective. It's almost 1 in the morning here in Argentina. It is common to go to bed late, bro. Vete a dormir. It's late. If you can talk about a wide variety of different subjects without a problem, then you're probably at a sea level. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Do I still keep in touch with Mike Ben? I I mean, me and Mike met each other through YouTube. It's not like I know him like that, but I do think he's really cool. He inspired me a lot. Like he's part of the reason that I like believed that I could learn a language because I watched him from month one, and I was like, maybe I'm not stupid. Maybe I'm doing this the wrong way. So I do try to like I try to keep him going because he's at a point now where he's like, what's the point of making YouTube videos and stuff? And I'm like, I feel like you can still inspire more people to do more stuff. So I try to. Ever since we did like the last live together, I don't know that we've talked. So maybe I'll shoot him a message after this, try to get him to do another live or something like that. But yeah, I try to keep in touch. I try to keep in touch with him. My dog's up and moving. Usually he only gets up when my wife's coming home, so I thought she was about to walk through the door. What kind of dog do I have? I don't know, bro. I literally don't know what kind of dog it is. It looks like a rat. But I don't really like dogs. My wife grew up with this dog and like his hair was falling out. Like he was with her parents, his hair was falling out. She was like, let's bring him in and like get his hair back and we'll give it back. And then like the dog's still here. It's been like 2 years or 3 years now. So I like the dog. It's cool. I don't like dogs in general. Think it? No, it's not a Chihuahua. It's like a. I don't know. I think Google said it was like a. No, it's not a terrier. Let me see. Little brown dog. 15 popular little brown dogs. Huh. Oh yeah, it's like this. Whatever this dog is. I don't even have the name of it, bro. I'm gonna type in terrier and see what happens. Oh, I think it is. It's some kind of terrier. Some kind of terrier mutt. Some kind of brown. Some it has terrier in it, bro. I don't know. What city am I from? Originally, I'm from a city called Killeen, Texas. Texas is the state. I'm from Killeen. Killeen is like 30 minutes from Austin. It's like 3 hours from Dallas. 3 hours. 4 hours from Houston. So I'm from Texas. Right now, I live in a city called Renton in Washington State. Yeah, that dude is great at building confidence in beginner language learners. Unfortunate seeing their passion dwindle with how useful they became for their target audience. Yeah, I think it makes sense because like that's literally why he started his YouTube. Like his YouTube was like literally to just show his progress, not even I don't know that he ever was like I want to make this many connections and I want to inspire this many people and blah blah blah. It was like more like a diary for him. So I completely understand why he's kind of like I have nothing to make posts about. Whereas like my stuff is not necessarily a diary. I'm like trying to help y'all. You know what I mean? And so I can never really run out of content as long as people have questions. Yeah, like this is why I do these lives and stuff. I'm like, if anyone has like input or like whatever, hopefully I can help. If not, I can give you my experience and yeah. You're in Vegas. I only been to Vegas one time. Here in Mendoza, there's a place called Las Vegas. That's weird. Is it okay? Is it like a nickname or is it actually called Las Vegas? ¿Se llama Las Vegas o es un como apodo? I think he got burnt out and said he lost his desire to travel. Yeah, I think me and Mike are similar in a way that like I think he started learning Spanish for like the novelty of it, like it was something new. He wanted to prove to himself that he could do it. But then what kept him going was the connections that he made. Um, which is like the same for me, which is like earlier why I said I stopped learning Portuguese. I had no one to talk to. And I don't want to learn it just to learn it. I like speaking Spanish to people that I know and like building a deeper connection. So I know he teaches like ESL or some shit like that now. So that's connections that he's building. Um, he has friends in Colombia now. So I don't think he's burnt out. I think he realized like the utility of Spanish for him was to build deeper connections. And so like yeah, would I like to travel all around the world? Kinda. But I would more like to go see like my friend Will that was in here earlier. Like I just want to go visit him, kick it with his family, talk blah blah blah. I'm not gonna say I don't want to go visit another country, but I'm not like oh I want to take my Spanish and go speak to everyone in all these countries. Like, nah, I got certain people that I know that I'd like to become better friends with because I can speak their language now and stuff like that. So my pops is from Houston. It's too much for me. Oh, Houston's crazy, bro. You'll never catch me out there. Mike Ben was my biggest inspiration, hands down. Oh yeah, super inspirational guy, man. I Yeah, like I said, I can't force him to make YouTube videos. The last live we did, I didn't force him, but I kind of was like, bro, come on, like let's just do it. And he was like, yeah, I guess. But I felt the vibes. I felt the vibes. Even when he was saying on that live, he was like, I'll probably do another one if Jalen asked me to do it. But like on his own, I just don't think he's really into YouTube, man. It's just not his thing, which is crazy because he has like X amount of subscribers and he barely like makes content. Like that's just that's how inspirational he is. I'll be making like 100 videos and have 1,000 subscribers. Oh, it's actually called that. Okay. Yeah, when a language has like 500 million speakers, I hope you don't run out of questions. If it wasn't for Mike Ben, then I probably wouldn't have embarked on the Spanish journey. Yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, like I said, super inspirational dude. Do you think the USA should change the way kids learn Spanish in school? 100%. I, to be fair, I follow a bunch of people on TikTok that are Spanish teachers in the United States that have changed the way that they teach it, because just people are realizing like, hey, there's all these people that learned another language either through immersion by moving to a country or immersing themselves in the culture here or blah blah blah, just literally having conversations, listening to music, watching TV, all this stuff, and you realize like, oh, people learn stuff through context, they learn stuff through conversations, blah blah blah. um, and so I see a lot of kids on TikTok now, they'll have to do TikToks in Spanish as their like project, or they'll have to like they'll get like a task, like you have to go order something in Spanish at a restaurant and stuff. That's cool, bro. Like that is how you learn stuff. Like literally ordering some food and like the waiter says something back to you, and you're just like, what? Like what he said? I just thought he was gonna ask me this, but you realize like people can say whatever they want to say, and you have to be prepared to just hear anything. Like that's the way that you learn language. My state was originally a Mexican territory. Definitely nothing like the Spanish culture in Texas or California, though. It's fair. Because mostly everyone I know say they never learn anything in school. Well, yeah, because school is mainly rote memory. And, like, not to shit on Duolingo again, but that's how Duolingo is. It's like you learn words. This English word is the definition for it. But it's like, that's just a word, bro. Like, if you try to think of a word, it's not the same as like seeing this. Oh shit, I almost hurt myself. Like I see this and I think of the word pen. I don't try to think of the word pen. I just through context my whole life I'm like, can you pass me that pen? Blah blah blah. Don't steal my pen. Pen. Right? And so um yeah, that's how you learn stuff. Same thing. Spanish is the same way. Like you hear people say, um, depending on what country you're from, you hear people say the word for pen, and you hear it enough times, and you see this, and you're gonna think of it. You're not gonna think, how do I say pen? You're just gonna think of the word, right? But like I said, school is a lot of rote memory, and it's a lot of I just need to memorize what I need to memorize to pass the test instead of like having experiences. The experiences are what makes stuff stick. Reading is cool. Reading books is cool too. Like, especially if you like the book, if it has a lot of imagery. I always recommend people read stuff that's like not dry. Like when I was a little kid, I read Harry Potter in English, right? And I still remember, bro, like I can remember with certainty, with clarity, the very first time I saw the word petrified. I had no idea what that word meant, but from the sentence, I could tell like this little snake had petrified this person. In this case, it actually like turned them into stone, like they were still. And so I knew what that meant. And like later on, I would hear like, I was petrified. And I was like, oh, I know what petrified means. I learned that in Harry Potter. So you start hearing the word more and more because you know it now. And you hear people say, oh, yeah, the guy came in with a gun. I was petrified. And you're like, oh, like in the story, they actually turned to stone. But that was like in real life, it's metaphorical. Like you're petrified, you can't move. But like there's a literal definition of petrified too, right? So there's two different definitions, but you learn through context what they are. So it's the same thing. The first time you see a word in Spanish, you're going to get one definition of it and you're going to kind of know what it means. The more you hear it, you're going to say, oh, so it can mean this too. And that helps you understand the first way you learned it too. The more times you hear it, the more you understand like what that word encompasses, right? So The only way people learn from the only way people learn Spanish from school is if they find native speakers in that class that immerse outside the class. Yeah, that's facts. In Argentine schools, languages derived from Latin, such as Portuguese, French, and Italian, are usually learned. Argentina is like a European country, but but with inflation. That's funny. Um, would I say that I'm fluent in Spanish? So, what I would say is this because I hate saying that I'm fluent in Spanish. I genuinely don't like saying it. I will say that people that I'm talked that I'm not even fluent in English, bro. I can't even talk. I will say people that I talk to say that I'm fluent. Anyone that I talk to in Spanish says that I dominate Spanish. I'm not gonna say that I'm fluent because that invites people to criticize and say, "Oh, well, I don't think you're fluent because I heard you make a mistake on this and blah blah blah." And I'll just be like, "Okay, that's fine." Like if you don't think I'm fluent, but I have conversations with people every single day, I tell people how to work out in Spanish. I talk to people about whatever I want to in Spanish. Then okay. If you think I am fluent, that's fine too. If you think you're fluent, but you can't master, the subjunctive, I would say like, yeah, in my definition, you're not fluent. If you think you are, that's fine. I'm not gonna argue with someone and say like, no, you're not fluent. You can't say that. And I'm not gonna argue with you about me either. What matters is that I can talk about whatever I want to in Spanish. I can talk to whoever. If you think that's fluency, that's cool. If you don't, that's fine too. Uh, School is just like you said, something standardized for other people to analyze. Whole reason why the newer generations are integrated into the capitalist economy. Everyone has their own definition for fluency. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I always tell people not to focus on the term fluency. Focus on having better conversations. Focus on having conversations. Period. Like you will start having conversations. It will be hard to do. It will get easier, and at some point, you will just have conversations. You won't say like, "I'm having a conversation in Spanish." You will just say, "I'm having a conversation." That's what I do. I just have conversations. Like I said, if someone thinks that's not fluent, that's fine. Your Spanish is definitely better than mine. I mean, next time you do a live, it'll probably be here. I'll probably be here. You earn a new subscriber. Hey, thanks, bro. I appreciate you. Man, it's almost been 3 hours. I'm gonna head out. Hopefully, I catch the next live. Yeah, it's been a long time. My wife said she was coming home at like 7:30. She actually texted me And I didn't check. I'm guessing she was saying why she wasn't coming home at 7:30. So I was just gonna let my phone die. But I appreciate you. Appreciate you, John, for coming in. Quinn, vete a dormir. Pero gracias. Uh, do I play any sports? I compete in Olympic weightlifting. I ran Division 1 track. I played basketball in high school. Only sport I play now is Olympic weightlifting, if you call that playing a sport. Ok, Quinn, que tenga buena noche, bro. Nos vemos tal vez mañana, no sé. Traffic in Seattle. Yes, there's a lot of traffic, especially depending on what time you get on I-5. I work from like 6 a.m. to 1, sometimes 2, so I don't encounter a lot of traffic either way. But yeah, if you work regular hours, bro, whoo, you're gonna be on I-5 all day. But I don't live in Seattle. I live south of Seattle. I could never live in Seattle. Way too cold. I agree. I'm trying to get out of here. I'm trying to move to Puerto Rico, to be honest. Phil, he lying? What did I lie about, bro? Oh, you making a sports joke, huh? Which part was a lie in your joke? Are you saying I don't compete in Olympic weightlifting? Is that what it is? Phil sucks at football, y'all. He claims that he played for University of North Texas. I don't know, man. I feel like he didn't. He just posts pictures of some dude in a jersey with a helmet on. How do we know it's him? You can't really see his face. I participate loosely. Fuck you. What do I do for work? I'm a strength and conditioning coach for the government, basically. I train soldiers. Yeah, so that's what I do. Only time I went to Seattle is flying in for vacation and going to Oregon. Oh, Oregon is way worse than Seattle. I'm not gonna lie, man. I've only been to Oregon one time. I went to Portland. It was probably like the worst time I could have gone because it was like right after the quarantine ended and like everything was like boarded up and stuff like that. So it wasn't a great experience. There was a lot of people breaking in people's cars and stuff like that too. So I don't really have much good to say about Oregon. I don't have much bad to say either because I really have no experiences in Oregon. I can tell you what people up here say about Oregon, but it's not my opinion because I have no real experience there. We were green. It was all Photoshop. Portland is lawless. Too crazy for me. I mean, like I said, I have no opinion because I haven't really been there. I don't know that it's lawless because that would be crazy, but I get what you're saying. The Oregon coast is beautiful. I've heard that. Just went to the store myself. Great to sit on the ocean and go hike cliffs. That was all the Oregon I will tolerate. I might have to do that then. I might have to do something like that. Give me like 30 seconds. Let me text my wife. Bro, my phone's on 1%. I just realized this. So, this was a really productive live. I'm actually kind of sad to get off at the point that I'm at. But, it's 9 o'clock. We talked for like almost 3 hours. So, I appreciate every single one of y'all that dropped in. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe like similar time tomorrow. We'll do the same thing. Planet Moolah and John, you guys participated in the book reading today. We could do something similar tomorrow. I could get a more simple book if you want me to. If you like this level, I could just bust this book right back out. We can go back to reading sentences and getting the definition of words through context. And if you think of something tonight after you get off of this live that you're like, oh, I struggle with this, I would like to hear someone explain it. Sometimes it's good to hear someone that speaks your native language explain something. Speaks your native language explain something. Yeah. Especially if they learn the same language that you're learning. So native speakers explain stuff sometimes, and you're like, you basically just said just do it. That wasn't a good explanation. So sometimes it helps. So if you think it's something you're struggling with, or that you just want to know about more, or you want to hear about, like, just come with it tomorrow or whenever you see me on here again, and then I'll do my best to help you understand it more. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this live before my phone actually dies, because I feel like that like ruins the video. So appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Peace.